Hey, this is part 2 of what I'm titling my layoff protocol. I hope you enjoy. Ooh, this is surprisingly harder to run while videoing than I thought it would be. I've heard other YouTubers that run say that, and I know what they're talking about now. But anyhow, I'm just trying to kind of keep things more concise here. I tend to ramble and I tend to not be very interesting in the way I speak, and my ideas kind of tend to be drawn out. So I'm trying to be a little more concise, so bear with me. I'm a work in progress, especially on YouTube videos. So the next topic that I wanted to touch on was actually the Bible story of the Israelites in Egypt when they were in slavery. And it's a very well-known story within Judaism and Christianity. I think I did just see a pileated woodpecker now. Anyway, so the idea basically is the Israelites are in slavery. And then they finally get out of it. But then they're in a desert, or in what the Bible calls the wilderness, for a long time. And a lot of them weren't happy about it because it was the wild. It didn't really have much of anything. But then eventually they went into the promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey, the good life, essentially. So I've heard other people talk about this story, like Jordan Peterson, and of course being in church most of my life and reading the Bible most of my life, very aware of it. But Jordan Peterson kind of pointed out that how it parallels to modern life, so it's like you have things that keep you in bondage or in slavery or imprisoned, kind of, and if you break free of those things, there's a lot more to all this, but I'm just trying to give a extreme high level Cliff Notes type things. But if you want to get out of it and you do get out of it, well, it's not like things just automatically are better instantly. You actually end up in a wilderness or in a desert, basically a chaotic environment. And that's not easy. That's scary, and it's difficult. The Israelites were slaves, and you don't have to say much about what that means. That's not a good situation, but they did have the basics: food, clothing, shelter. They had structure. They lived within a society that was very advanced, actually. And they had laws and cities and all these things, all these comforts, in a sense, compared to living in a desert. And so if you go to a desert, it's like, well, where's my food? What's my food? Where's my water? Where's the bathroom? Where's my house? I'm sleeping in a tent on the ground. I'm out exposed to the elements. So it's, wild animals, marauders, people that would be actual enemies. You don't have an Egyptian master and government and army there to keep you from being attacked. So and then after that, eventually they got to the good life. They had to fight through a lot to get that, and the good life was basically just, they had their own freedom. They were their own people. They didn't have a master anymore other than God and their consciences, and they're free to prosper and to live the way they wanted to live within the 10 Commandments, essentially, or the laws of God. And so I saw a parallel between that and in life. It just kind of struck me, specifically with careers. It's like a job, a 9-to-5 job can really be like slavery. I mean, and I'm not alone in this thought. I've heard other people say it over the years. I had a probability professor in college that he would kind of just go on tangents sometimes. And one time he pointed out, hey, we're all just really slaves still. We're just in a system that's more advanced, but in ways we're all slaves to things. And for me, a 9-to-5 job, most the ones I've been in felt that way. And I'm not saying I don't appreciate the income or the opportunities to learn things even, but if you let it can really become like shackles. You've heard the term golden handcuffs. So this is a well-known concept at the very least. I thought about, well, why am I trying to just take another similar job or even same job, or when I didn't like it, or why am I even trying to take a job at all? What other options are there? Of course you need food, clothing, shelter. And most common way to get that is money. Well, heck, there's other ways to make money. There's gig jobs, there's part-time jobs, there's seasonal work, there's contract work, there's owning your own business, there is essentially arbitrage opportunities with anything you can think of. And what that means is you buy something and sell it for more than you bought it. So there's all these different ways to look at how you get income, and most people go for a job. And the reason for that, I think, at least for me, is because there's an illusion of security in it. And you have a check coming every 2 weeks, and you can count on that, and you don't have to wonder. It's pretty mapped out. It's like, okay, as long as I keep showing up and I don't raise too many red flags, cause too many problems, I can count on that money. And there's a lot of problems in that. It's like, well, one, it's not guaranteed. Look at me, laid off. And that's not uncommon. That's becoming more and more common. Well, and also, do you really want to live like that? You know, looking at, well, I just got to show up and not screw up too bad. It's like, that's not a meaningful way to live. It's not ethical. You know, and what I would run into is I would tend to try to be I would try to, you know, do my best to do the right thing to the best of my ability. And it would just wear me out. I had nothing left. I had less than nothing left. You know, I was going in the hole in my health. And, you know, employers oftentimes don't reward when you're doing the right thing. They ultimately, in my experience, it seems like as time goes by, people are getting shorter and shorter sighted in the business world. I'm not calling anybody out in particular, but this has been what I have observed. People are getting more and more pragmatic, or Machiavellian is the term. And I don't know if you've heard that or not, but it just means, essentially boiled down, it means the ends justify the means. Basically saying, well, if I can keep this paycheck coming, it doesn't matter how I get it. And that does not adhere to any inborn sense of right and wrong that I've ever heard of people having other than psychopaths. So it's like, are you really wanting to be that person? I'll just do whatever. I'm gonna switch hands here to get a paycheck. It's also another word for that, prostitution. So, you know, you're not really secure. You might want to believe that the job is secure. You could be let go at any time, and you're probably having to sell your soul in a sense to keep the position, because I have also found most people are willing to cheat and to lie. And there's so many subtopics within this. I'm thinking if I could do whole talks on, but it's not really secure. And also there's a cap. You're not going to build a lot of wealth. You know, it's not like if you're in a job, you're just getting huge raises. That just doesn't happen in my experience. And from talking to other people, they're going to kind of get you to come in for the least amount they can, then they're going to give you the least amount in raises. It's just how it seems to work. And so anyway, that's the prison of a 9-to-5 job, or the slavery of Egypt that is a 9-to-5 job. And in a second, I'll explain the next part. That was part 2 of the layoff protocol, and next I'm going to put together part 3. Thanks for watching.